All right, looks like we are live. So if you're here with me live, then hit me with where you're tuning in from. And if you're on the replay, hit me with a hashtag replay and tell me why this topic is of importance to you. Why were you drawn to understand how creating goals the traditional way actually leads to burnout? Are you in burnout now? Are you looking to bounce back from burnout and to find the easy button? Or are you just looking to avoid it altogether? I'm Melanie McCool. I'm the entrepreneur's hypnotherapist and peak performance coach. I'm also the founder of Program for Prosperity. And that's a self-hypnosis course where I give entrepreneurial women the tools to master the subconscious mind so they can live an epic life. And one of the first things that we do is we learn goal setting that actually gets your subconscious on board. And why would that be important? Well, I'll ask you, do you have any good habits? Got some good habits? Drop them in the comments. Let me know what your good habits are. Those good habits, they feel effortless and automatic, right? You just kind of get these inner nudges and you've got to do them. In fact, you wonder how on earth somebody else wouldn't think that, for example, drinking water was important if that's one of your good habits, right? On the other hand, if you're not drinking water right now and you got to create the habit of drinking water, that requires some willpower. It requires the conscious effort to drink water, right? Two different places that the action's going to come from. One's easy, effortless, and automatic, and one requires that willpower thing. So we're going to talk about really two reasons why the traditional goal setting can make burnout an inevitable outcome. And I hope that you'll stick with me here and you can let me know which of these, how these experiences have kind of echoed in your life as they have in mine and in my clients, right? So really nothing that you could tell me as in something I've already experienced myself or I've seen in many others. So as we look at traditional goal setting, and here we are, we're headed into the new year, and it is of utmost importance that we do set, we sit down and we evaluate where we've been and say where we want to go. You got to set your GPS, otherwise you're not going to go anywhere. So that's of utmost importance. But what is typically the focus of those goals is kind of, okay, where have we been? And what are we moving away from? Am I right? So what are the problems that need to be solved? That's traditionally what we're looking at. And if you've got an away from goal, if you're trying to solve a problem, then when you think about your goals are automatically steeped in negativity. And I'll just tell you, the first and easy reason is that your mind leads you away from pain and towards pleasure. And so if you're thinking about and we're talking about business goals here, right? If you're thinking about your business goals and the feeling that you have is one of negativity, then your mind is already leading you away from it. It's putting its kind of foot on the brake. This leads to procrastination, inaction. And then the outcome of that is heaping doses of guilt and shame because you feel like you should be further along, right? So the first reason the traditional goal setting is problematic is that it is this kind of problem-focused exercise. If you've been through my Burnout Business Growth Workshop, then you have heard me speak of how the way we think about things leads to our feelings. The way we feel, it creates either action or inaction. And that becomes our habits of action, which determine our life. And so if you look around your life, the outcome is based on the predominant thoughts that you have. And so if your predominant thoughts are negative, problematic, Then your foot's on the brake. The habit of inaction is there. The outcome is that you're not getting closer to your goals. And that creates an internal stressor that exasperates burnout. Now, let's talk about what the World Health Organization describes burnout as. It's an occupational phenomenon that results from unmitigated stress, right? Or unmanaged chronic stress in work. And the symptoms that they acknowledge are feelings of exhaustion, negativity, distance from one's work, and lack of productivity, right? And so what I'm telling you is that the number one source of 24/7 stress isn't just what's going on in your world, as opposed, what you've got to deal with in your business coming at you every day. The number one source of 24/7 stress is at the level of thought. And so goal setting, problem-focused goal setting, creates that internal stressor that creates burnout. The other problem with this is if you're focused on a problem and you're feeling negative about it, you're in this negative emotion, or we do talk about vibe, right? When I say high vibe, I'm literally talking about, vibration. I'm literally talking about the kind of biochemistry that's in your body. So when we're stressed out about things, we have the hormones of adrenaline and cortisol take over, right? So this is the negative soup of stress biochemistry. It causes inflammation, disease, all kinds of outcomes that are not just mental, but physical. But let's just look at that for a moment. That negative soup that you're swimming around in, as you make decisions from that level of mind, you get more of the same. And I'm going to propose that there is a far different way to do this. Okay. I prove, my clients prove that there's a far better way to do things that will ensure that you never experience burnout. Okay. So with that understanding, so problem-focused goal setting, that's number one. That's something that we learn how to not only avoid, but we give a really powerful method of goal setting that actually gets the subconscious mind on board. So those internal nudges are what lead you to action, that create the habits that lead you to a happy, healthy, wealthy life, right? So that's the other piece of how traditional goal setting, or setting those resolutions that fail, is the norm. Because if you've ever tried to change a habit with pure willpower, I'll ask you, how's your willpower? And the problem with willpower, now I know you have willpower, because if you're successful, if you have created a level of success or a mastery of any habit in your life that you weren't taught as a kid to be normal, right? Then you have a measure of willpower. That's important. However, the problem with creating new habits, and why change is hard and breaking habits is hard, breaking patterns is hard, but it's easy with a hypnotherapist, is because you're trying to do things with the conscious mind. And the conscious mind would require you to be conscious and use willpower. And if you've ever set a goal and I think the easiest thing to talk about it is in terms of food, right? Rather than because we can all relate to this on some level. If you've ever tried to have better habits around food, let me know if your experience is, if you're stressed or distracted or anything, the default is to do what? Go to your old habit, because that's what's run by the subconscious, okay? So if you're not conscious, then willpower doesn't work, and we can't be conscious 24/7. The other problem with setting goals that are like away from goals that have to be willpower based would be like, let's say you really want to break the habit of eating cake. It's the easy one to use, cake. So problem solving. Can't eat cake, won't eat cake, no more cake. If I say no pencil, what happens? Oh, you thought of a pencil? Right. It's because your subconscious mind does not even understand the word no. Your mind developed before language. And so when you say no cake, can't have cake, no debt, whatever the no alcohol, whatever the coffee, chocolate, we can go on and on, right? Whatever the things are that you want to stay away from, when they're involved in your goal, all your mind hears is that thing. So all your mind heard was cake, 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 which does what? It leads you beelining for the cake. I'm not even going to use smoking as an example, but it's the same darn thing. If you're thinking, oh, I guess I will. Can't smoke, won't smoke, it's gross to smoke, it stinks to smoke, my doctor says I shouldn't smoke. What are you thinking? Smoke, 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 smoke. Willpower is not how you break the smoking habit. But I probably have at least 100 people that have broken it with hypnosis like that. Why? Because habits are at the level of the subconscious mind. And so if you want to install good habits, then you've got to do it at the level of the subconscious so that it can be effortless and automatic. I asked you, do you have good habits? And they feel like they're just you. That's not, what you do. It's who you are. It's just easy. You can't even imagine why other people don't find it so easy. That's a good habit. It's run by the subconscious mind. Nothing to do with willpower involved, right? And so the key to setting goals that really just help you to make your goal achievement a joyful experience, an easy experience, one that feels like pride and achievement really is. It is about getting it at the level of the subconscious mind. And I can't give you the full lesson today, but I am going to run a non-traditional goal setting workshop on the 2nd. Okay, so you can get all through this season. I wish you the absolute best in everything you get to experience. And you can know that come the 2nd, that you can bring the goals that you wrote down, even if they're problem focused. It's okay. You can bring them to that session because I'm going to give you the first bits about how we can turn them around and have them be goals that your subconscious mind actually helps you to achieve. And I call it prosperity mapping because right now you can only see so much. You can only see essentially where you've been. And we're going to take you to the edge of that map and go beyond so that you can imagine that 6 months from now, your life can be very much different. Really, your possibilities are endless. And my goal as a hypnotherapist is to help you to expand your mind. And as your mind expands, it can never, ever go back to its old way of thinking, being. You'd never again even think about setting goals that create burnout. Instead, you'll have these wonderful goals that make you feel lit up inside and give you a sense of hope and optimism, which leads to action that creates the habit of action that then creates your life's experience. You become a master of actualization. And so I do hope that you will join me. Mark your calendars for prosperity mapping. You should be able to find an RSVP here, either somewhere on my profile or in the links to the comments. You can find an RSVP for prosperity mapping on the 2nd. And I totally am looking forward to helping you to, bring your life around to the way that you want it to be. And so if you plan to be there, let me know. I'll be there. And if you're watching this on a replay and you know it's nearing the 2nd and you don't know where the link is to RSVP, comment. And we'll make sure that you do have that link. All right. So with that, I'm going to wish you an incredible holiday. And however you celebrate, make it beautiful. May all love and blessings be with you everywhere you go. All right. So I'm Melanie McCool, and I will see you again live here on the 2nd. All right. With that, I'll say adios. Have a wonderful rest of your day. You deserve it.